It's 11 p.m. and you're staring at your phone screen again. The banking app won't refresh fast enough for what you dread. $400 sits between you and your very next paycheck. But you make six figures. How is this even possible? You did everything the plan promised. The degree, the raise, the title. Therefore, the money should be there, but it never quite is. Somewhere between your salary and your savings, something quietly vanishes. It isn't one big mistake. It's smaller and far more dangerous. A system was built to take your money before you even feel it. Stay with me, because the next few minutes could change your bank account forever. I'm Bob, and I've watched this exact scene play out too many times. A six-figure income and a stomach that drops every payday. Today, you're learning about something I call the fake middle-class trap. It's the gap between looking successful and actually feeling safe. Millions of high earners live this same paycheck-to-paycheck nightmare quietly. This video hunts down every dollar that disappears from your income. You'll meet the hidden systems engineered to drain your extra cash. You'll walk away with one overhead rule that protects real wealth. Nothing here is theory. Every number you're about to hear is yours. So let's start where this trap always begins, the mirage itself. It starts on an ordinary Tuesday morning, like any other. Picture the office you worked years to finally walk into. $100,000 a year, the number you once dreamed about. You signed the lease on the nicer apartment and felt unstoppable. But then, payday landed, and the account barely even moved. You refreshed the app twice, certain the deposit hadn't come through. It had landed, and it was already almost completely gone. $400 stood between you and the next 2 weeks. Therefore, you are not broken. This happens to high earners daily. Something between that salary and that life is quietly bleeding out. Let's follow that six-figure paycheck and see where it actually goes. On paper, $100,000 sounds like more than enough, but taxes and healthcare alone pull almost $28,000 away first. Rent or a mortgage in 2026 claims another $28,000. Utilities and groceries quietly take $18,000 more before you notice. Add it up, and $74,000 has already vanished. What's left is roughly $22,000 for everything else. That breaks down to about $1,800 a month total. $1,800 has to cover fun, freedom, and future savings. Therefore, the six-figure salary was never the number that mattered. Here's why this whole situation feels so unfair compared to the past. 20 years ago, a normal paycheck covered a normal life easily, but housing, education, and healthcare climbed far faster than wages ever did. The same job title today buys a much smaller slice of life. In 2000, that salary stretched across rent, food, and savings. In 2026, that same salary barely survives rent and food. The entry price of a stable life has quietly doubled on you. Your income didn't shrink, the cost of simply existing grew instead. This is why six figures feels like $30,000 used to. The mirage is believing the old rules still apply to your paycheck. The rest of that income doesn't vanish in one dramatic moment. Handing over a $100 bill used to genuinely hurt to do. That sting made your brain pause before you spent another cent. Somewhere along the way, that natural resistance was deliberately engineered away. One tap on your phone replaces the sting of handing over cash. Every checkout button was engineered to remove your hesitation completely. No friction means no pause, and no pause means no thought. You spend faster because the system was quietly built for that. The convenience feels harmless because the pain signal never fires anymore. This is the very first leak hiding inside your six-figure income. There's a second leak, and it hides inside your monthly subscriptions. Streaming apps, cloud storage, and a gym membership quietly stack up monthly. $15 here, $20 there, $60 somewhere else adds fast. A $15 meal quietly becomes a $32 delivery order. Delivery fees, service charges, and tips triple the true cost of food. Small app renewals charge your card automatically while you're not looking. None of these charges feel large enough to fight on their own, but together they quietly remove $500 every single month. $500 a month is $6,000 every single single year. That's real money vanishing through charges too small to ever question. But the biggest leak of all hides behind a single monthly number. A dealer never sells you a price, they sell you a payment. $750 a month sounds manageable and even reasonable, but over 72 months, that payment totals $54,000. $54,000 for a car losing value every single year. Nobody feels that number because nobody looks past the monthly figure. The payment feels small. The true cost is anything but small. This is the largest hidden bleed inside the average American budget. Taxes, bills, subscriptions, delivery fees, and car payments all bleed together. Together, they explain exactly why six figures never quite feels like enough. There's another reason the spending never seems to actually stop. It starts with a quiet competition you never agreed to join. You buy things you don't need to impress people you barely like. A new driveway, a bigger television, a nicer lease, all send a signal. That signal says, I'm doing well, even when your numbers disagree. But real wealth almost never looks loud. It looks completely invisible. A $100,000 index fund makes no sound in your driveway. An $800 monthly lease announces itself to every neighbor. One of these builds your future. The other only rents your image. The treadmill keeps you spending to maintain a look, not a life. Let's draw a hard line between what builds wealth and fakes it. A leased car loses value the second you drive off the lot. Luxury electronics and branded clothing follow that exact same losing pattern. These purchases demand upkeep and constant replacement while giving nothing back. Real assets work differently. They quietly grow while you keep living. Index funds, high-yield savings, and cash-flowing property all generate yield. A fake asset costs you money every single month it exists. A real asset pays you money every single month it exists. High-net-worth people quietly buy the second kind and skip the first. Everyone else keeps buying the first kind and calls it success. There's one more reason all of this feels so painfully normal. Every scroll on your phone shows someone else's curated highlight reel. Vacations, upgrades, and new purchases appear constantly across every single feed. Your brain quietly resets what counts as a normal way to live. Spending that once felt extreme starts to feel completely expected instead. But nobody posts their retirement balance or their emergency fund total. You only ever see the spending, never the saving, behind closed doors. This creates a false average that pulls everyone's spending upward together. You're not competing with reality, you're competing with a highlight reel. Therefore, breaking free starts with noticing the comparison was never fair. High income hides a danger that most people never see coming. It usually starts on an ordinary Monday with one short meeting. Imagine your entire department disappearing in one short company meeting. Someone earning $10,000 a month suddenly earns nothing at all. If their fixed bills eat nearly all that income, they collapse fast. Someone earning far less but owing far less often lasts much longer. Therefore, high income was never the same thing as financial safety. Real safety lives in the gap between what you earn and owe. Without that gap, even a strong salary offers almost no protection. The higher the overhead, the faster a high earner can fall. Here's exactly what makes this so dangerous for high earners specifically. Fixed overhead means the bills that leave your account no matter what. Rent, car payments, insurance, and loans all fall inside this category. When overhead eats most of your paycheck, your freedom disappears with it. You can't take a career risk when every dollar is already spoken for. You can't leave a toxic job when the bills simply won't wait. High fixed overhead quietly traps people inside jobs they can't afford to leave. This is exactly why the phrase golden handcuffs describes it so well. The income looks like freedom, but the overhead behaves like a chain. Therefore, lowering fixed overhead is the fastest way to loosen it. There's a reason this exact trap quietly repeats itself over time. A stressful job pushes you toward fast, convenient ways to cope. Delivery apps, impulse purchases, and quick upgrades soothe the daily stress. But those purchases raise your fixed overhead just enough to matter. Higher overhead means you now need that stressful job even more. The job that stresses you becomes the job you can't leave. Stress causes spending, and spending causes dependence on that very stress. This loop quietly repeats month after month without most people noticing. Breaking it means means lowering overhead before you try lowering the stress. Otherwise, the cycle simply resets the moment your income rises again. So here's exactly how you break free from everything you just saw. It always starts with one honest decision made in a quiet moment. The moment arrives when you stop chasing status and start chasing safety. You drop the flex purchases that were never building anything real. You take one honest look at where your money actually goes. This isn't about earning more first, it's about leaking far less now. Financial freedom doesn't begin at $500,000 a year. It begins the moment your income clearly outpaces your fixed expenses. That gap, not the salary number, is what actually creates freedom. Resetting the baseline means choosing that gap over the image. Here's the one number that protects you no matter what you earn. Add your housing payment and your vehicle debt together each month. That number should stay under 35% of your take-home pay. This rule applies whether you earn $40,000 or $400,000. Above 35%, your freedom starts shrinking, no matter your income. Below 35%, you finally have room to build real wealth. This single number predicts financial stress better than any salary could. Calculate your own number today before you watch another finance video. Most fake middle-class households sit far above this exact line. Moving under that line is the single most powerful shift available. Now, let's turn that same frictionless technology completely against the trap. The apps that quietly drained you can be pointed the other way. Set up an automatic transfer into an index fund on payday. Set up an automatic transfer into a high-yield savings account too. Move that money before you ever see the balance in checking. What you never see, you'll never be tempted to spend again. This removes the willpower requirement most budgeting advice quietly depends on. The same frictionless system built to drain you can build you instead. Automating that outflow to your future is the final piece here. This is how the paradigm quietly breaks in your favor instead. Here's exactly what you just lived through with me. The fake middle-class trap is spending that quietly matches your income. It hides behind subscriptions, delivery fees, car payments, and social comparison. The fix was never earning more. It's capturing more of what you earn. The method is called the 35% hard overhead rule. Keep your housing and vehicle debt under 35% of take-home pay. Below that line, you gain real room to save, invest, and breathe. Above that line, you stay one paycheck away, no matter your salary. This single number matters more than almost any other financial metric. It's the real dividing line between looking rich and being secure. Here's exactly what to do the moment this video ends tonight. Open your bank statement and add up last month's actual spending. Calculate your current housing plus vehicle debt as a percent of income. Write that percentage down, even if the number feels uncomfortable. If you're above 35%, pick one bill to shrink first. It might be the car payment, the rent, or a stacked subscription. You don't need to fix everything today, just start with one. Then set up one automatic transfer into savings before you spend again. That single transfer becomes the first brick in your real foundation. Small, deliberate action today beats waiting for a bigger paycheck someday. Picture your life 6 months after making this one change. Your checking account no longer bleeds out before the next payday. You have a cushion that didn't exist when this video started. A layoff would no longer mean instant panic and instant collapse. You're richer because of what you kept, not what you earned. The apartment, the job title, none of that ever defined real wealth. The gap between what you earn and what you owe defines it. You don't need 6 figures to escape the fake middle-class trap. You need a smaller number and the discipline to protect it. That gap starts today, and it starts with your very next dollar.